Welcome to the worst of the best podcast. You wanted the best. Well, they didn't freaking make it. So here's what you get. From Canada, Ryan and
Jason. Welcome to another episode of the Worst of the Best podcast. I am your host, Ryan, and with me again today, of course, Jason, my brother. Jason, how you doing?
Good, brother. How are you?
Good. For those who care, or maybe there might be a few listeners who care about our relationship or our personal journeys outside the podcast, at the time of this recording, it depends when it comes out, but at the time of this recording, I recently saw Jason and my other family members who live on the west coast of Canada. I was able to visit them because my oldest son got married and I was there for the wedding. And I flew back here to Ontario, and it's sad to say goodbye, but I'll be back, Jason. I'll be back on the Great Vancouver Island. I always say it's going to be 10 or 22 months from now, one of the two, give or take. So we'll see. I look forward to it.
We'll be happy to have you. It was nice. It was a quick visit, but it was sweet. It was nice to catch up, be able to sit with you in person instead of across a computer screen and webcam.
Yeah. Well, this is better than nothing. This is why I like doing this podcast, because it forces me to talk to you at least twice a month. So this is good. So here we go, folks. This is an interesting topic today. Basically talking about social media platforms. And it's funny, we've done time this recording. I think it's 189, almost 190 episodes on our podcast. I don't think we've done a social media platform one, have we?
Not specifically on social media. I know that there's ones where we've talked about like how Facebook spies on you, like a couple like that.
Yeah, we did talk about the privacy issues with Facebook.
The privacy issues, yeah.
Not about each platform.
Specifically, not each particular platform.
Well, we're going to talk about that today. Everyone knows every single platform we're going to talk about. So it's going to be very, quick and dirty in the sense of if we have to explain what the social media platform is, some of you might be more familiar with others. We get that. But we're not just doing that. We're also going to talk about how we live in a country, like most of our listeners, they come from the US, then Canada, then Australia, UK. Basically, the free world listens to our podcast. One, because only the free world has access to our podcast. And that's kind of what we're going to throw in today, is we're going to talk about what countries have actually not allowed certain platforms into their country. Some may surprise you, some probably won't. So, Jason, despite the fact that some countries don't have access to the platforms we're going to talk about today, they continue to find creative ways to stay connected and express themselves freely, because that's human nature, Jason. You put somebody behind bars, what's the first thing they're going to do? Figure out how they can escape. Humans hate being trapped. Well, all animals hate being trapped. If you trap free speech, I really like that citizens of other countries, I applaud these people who are in difficult situations saying, you know what, I still want to speak freely. The fact that we have free speech, we're going to get into some of the platforms where this is more of an issue than others. I'm grateful for free speech, whether it's right or wrong, whether I'm mistaken or whatever it might be. I'm glad that we have the ability to have free thought and expression and then bounce ideas off each other, challenge each other. I think society, my guess, needs that. Jason, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I think it's human nature to be able to communicate. I mean, if you are, say, in a relationship where your inability to express your feelings, you feel suppressed, that's very frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a relationship, whether it's working, personal, or whatever, and you don't feel that you have the ability or feel safe in being able to express, whether it's emotional or a business idea or a way to improve the work environment that you're in, if you can't express those things, I mean, there's kind of an undertone of, I would say, dread in those environments.
For sure, yeah.
Right, and so you seek out, whether it's on a social media platform or even personal, somebody like a confidant, somebody that you can talk to freely. Social media platforms allow people to do that. Some
Agreed.
People do that more. Some people do that less. I think it's just obviously human nature to be able to communicate and express.
So these tools are vital for sharing ideas, reporting news, or communicating without fear of surveillance. From encrypted messaging to social networks spreading uncensored content, these technologies resist censorship, ensuring that voices are heard globally. So this list covers 10 such resilient communication networks.
If you're in a situation like I had mentioned earlier, whether it's working or personal or whatnot, if you are feeling air quotes censored or stifled in your ability to express yourself, the people who are censoring you are not, they can be considered your enemy, right? Why would they want you to not be able to express yourself? That adversarial relationship is built a lot upon not being able to communicate. It's going to be pretty obvious as we go through this list. The countries that do restrict communication, they're often considered oppressive dictatorship type of environments. And it's interesting in the landscape that we're living in now, that seems to be spreading to other countries that aren't usually viewed to be a dictatorship. They champion the freedom of voice, but I don't think that's as obvious anymore as it had once been.
It's a good statement, Jay. I'll let you start this list.
So Zoom, one of the major original, video calling apps, it's a crucial link to the world for millions. However, in countries like Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Syria, and parts of Ukraine, U.S. sanctions have resulted in Zoom being banned, restricting access to this vital communication platform. Governments use these bans to control what people see and hear, keeping them isolated from global discussions.
So yeah, this one I found interesting right off the bat. I mean, I know it's our number 10, but it's interesting that it's the U.S. themselves that are actually restricting these countries regarding the Zoom product. Now, of course, all these things are privately owned. None of these are public, like they're not publicly. But the idea is that these are privately owned companies that
Right.
update their software. You can buy premium accounts with these softwares, most of them, things like that. Zoom has, I guess it's U.S. owned, and the U.S. has put sanctions on countries that the U.S. isn't really happy with. Countries like Iran, North Korea. The U.S. has made things hard for people there to access Zoom. What do you think of the U.S. government putting bans on that?
Makes me wonder, are they banning it for the people not using it? Or are they banning, because Zoom's often a government, like a lot of your medical governments seem to use Zoom or have it was kind of an original.
It's probably an irritant. It's probably just to make things harder for them to communicate because we're not at war with Iran. We're not at literally we're invading Iran war, for example. But I know Iran and U.S. do not get along. They are not friendly with each other. So I think it's more of an irritant for you. That would be my guess. I'm not a political expert at all. But my guess would be if Zoom and the U.S. and Zoom are having some sort of handshake, the U.S. is saying, look, if you want to operate this in our country, this platform, why Zoom in particular? I think, like you're saying, Jay, I think it's very popular amongst government. It's a very popular government tool. I think it's more of a, let's just make it difficult for people in these countries that don't have our interests in heart. Hey, we created this platform. You don't get to use it. No. It sucks to be you. That's my guess.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. So the next one is sort of like Zoom. Remember, this is actually earlier than Zoom, I think. The old days of Skype. Remember Skype?
Oh, yeah.
How exciting Skype was to use. He's like, hey, you're getting free lunch. This is phone calls. It really kind of revolutionized the early days of the internet and the early days of webcam chatting. And it's like, I can't believe we could talk on the webcam for free. I could talk to my brother in the States for free. I think this kind of eliminated those long distance calls and stuff that we were familiar with before. So as we know, Skype is a popular app for free video and voice calls, but it's also blocked in some places like Belize and Brazil by telecom companies that want users to stick with their paid services. So now we have telecom companies in other countries saying, no. Just like I said, Jay, Skype overrides. If you have an internet connection, you both have Skype. It don't matter where you are. It's internet. It's what you're paying for. The software allows two Skype users to talk to each other no matter where they are. So you have telecom companies saying, no bueno. We want you guys to use our telecom companies. In countries like China and Egypt, the blocks are about control and surveillance, goes without saying. And these governments prefer services they can monitor. So I guess they don't have the ability to monitor Skype's activities. So again, if you guys want to talk to each other, use the software we provide you so we can listen in on your conversations. Skype causing problems for countries in one way or another, whether it's money or surveillance.
When's the last time you ever used Skype? Man, it feels like
it's been a spell.
I think the Netscape of
it's the American Online. Yeah, it's the old school. We're not going to order here, of course, of when these apps were created. This is just when we put our list together, Jay. If you recall, we just put it together in a haphazard order. I don't think we put it together alphabetically or anything such thing. I think it was just
use user numbers or anything. It's just
no. So Skype is, I'm sure it's still in business. I'm actually curious, what did they bring in last year?
or even users. Like, what's the user number?
It has been out for 21 years. They're
Wow.
still a company. They have mobile applications called GroupMe and Skype Quick. It's currently available in 108 languages. According to Skype's financial information that was filed in Luxembourg, the company's annual revenue dropped from 722 million in 2013, 11 years ago, to 184 million in 2022. So they have had quite a drop, which represents a 75% decrease during that time frame. And that was even during COVID. So people went to Zoom, not Skype, during COVID.
I don't know enough about these technologies, but I'm just curious. I wonder what the reasoning for Zoom, like everything was Zoom.
Like MySpace and then it's Facebook. It's just weird.
Right.
Something the same kind of idea of what they're going to do as a company. And then another company comes along and just becomes, so Zoom, we should have done this with Zoom. Zoom Video had a revenue at the end of July 2024 quarterly, 1.1 billion in the quarter. To Skype's yearly revenue of 185 million. Oof, that's embarrassing. Why? How are they still a company? 185 million is nothing to sneeze at. So Zoom has an annual revenue, Jay, of $4.5 billion a year right now.
Wow.
To Zoom's 190 million.
It's a dying breed. Skype.
It is hanging in there. Skype's hanging in there. Okay. All right, Jay, you got the next one.
So WhatsApp, they're hugely popular, but it's banned in countries, again, China, North Korea, Syria, Iran, due to a strong encryption, which prevents government monitoring. In places like the UAE, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt, only WhatsApp's calling features are blocked, citing security and financial reasons, as local telecom companies could lose out if everyone used free WhatsApp calls. So again, I mean, here we are. We're talking about the same countries, basically.
Right.
These are the countries that we would view as being, a dictatorship, communism, stifling their population that they're in control of.
Now, have you ever used WhatsApp? Do you have WhatsApp? So you've used Zoom recently, or have?
I mean, I use Zoom, typically only use it for like the doctor, usually it's just the doctors. I don't really use it for anything else.
No.
Skype, I probably used it 2-3 times.
10, 15 years ago, probably.
15, yeah. WhatsApp, I've had that app forever.
Right.
And never use it. I don't know why it's so popular, but it's hugely popular and people talk about it all the time. But they say it's secure. But
it's pretty secure.
Is it really secure against?
My understanding is yes. I don't know how it works, but I think some things like WhatsApp are so secure that even WhatsApp doesn't have access to your chats. It's encrypted end-to-end guaranteed. It's encrypted end, meaning the only people that see the conversation is whoever's looking at your phone with you, like physically next to you.
I think Facebook bought it, and that was their way to infiltrate their base or whatever into other countries.
So WhatsApp has grown steadily. It's an app that is growing. So again, I don't use it. I only use it for work, and that's it. I never use it for friendly conversations with anyone. I just use Messenger, which I'm sure could be hacked very easily, whatever, because I just talk about
but
whatever.
Apparently those are becoming encrypted end to end.
Sure.
It says, I think I see it advertised.
Yeah, you can sync it up or something with other devices. So that way, if you're on your phone, it might not be the same conversation you have on your computer because it's not synced. If people want to watch my conversations on Facebook,
I know.
Sure, you're going to see a lot of memes. Maybe inappropriate memes, but memes are the same. So, Jay, for their growth, they've been steadily growing. 443 million in 2018 to 1.3 million in 2023. They definitely are growing. This growth highlights WhatsApp's expansion.
So, say that number again.
1.3 billion in 2020.
Yeah, billion. Yeah, you said billion.
So this growth highlights what you spoke of, WhatsApp's expanding role in Meta's portfolio.
Okay, so it is owned by Meta now.
Yeah. All right. So you and I really don't use it. We've used it, but again, we're dealing with so far on this list, nothing we've really used. So we should say to anyone who's listening, who's made it this far in the show, our worst pick will be if Canada, we're pretending, if Canada decided, well, who knows? Maybe,
are we pretending?
I don't know.
I don't think we're that far away here.
If Canada decided.
When Canada decides.
Sure. When Canada decides we're going to shut down a platform from this list, which one would Jason and I go like, no, not that one? Which one would sting the most? So So I don't think you and I would be heartbroken if they banned Skype, for example. So that's kind of an easy one. So that's what we mean. Like that wouldn't be the worst one. That'd probably be the easiest one. Go ahead and ban Skype. I haven't used it in 15 years. So which one of these would we feel the most sting? Like, oh, that kind of sucks. That's gone. Okay.
Yeah, what's funny is I've had WhatsApp for like probably from the very beginning. I've maybe used it. I couldn't even recall who I would have used it with. Like maybe 5 times my whole life. But it's available if anybody wants to WhatsApp me.
Yeah, I have it too. Yeah, I think you just have to have my cell number, I think. Okay. Now we should have we've been keep saying social media platforms. We should just say platforms because the next one is Wikipedia. Obviously, Wikipedia is a huge platform of information. My understanding, it's not AI that creates information; it's humans, right? So people will add to it, but it usually says citation needed. Usually, Wikipedia will be pretty good about, hey, this is the information put together in a nice narrative, citations below. If it's kind of like, I'm not too sure about that, we'll allow you to put it. They will then say citation needed. Take it for what it's worth. Now, I just say that because anytime anyone uses Wikipedia and it goes against your narrative, it's always, where'd you get that? Wikipedia? Yeah, okay.
Right.
I love how everything's wrong on Wikipedia. So if it's wrong there, then where is it right? Where is the source? Every piece of information we have is human knowledge. I don't know where else you get it from. Okay.
So having said that, Ryan, where does AI get their information?
Scans the web.
Right. So all the information that we have somehow is human generated at some point.
AI has the ability to sniff out the BS a little bit better. It said, AI is fascinating. We'll have to do an episode on AI one day. Okay. So, Jay, in 2019, China expanded its Great Firewall to block all versions of Wikipedia because, it comes in all languages, aiming to curb access to free information beyond just sensitive topics like the Dalai Lama and Tiananmen Square. We've said this before with some of our religious talk or whatever. If you have the truth, if you have something that's true, come at me. Whatever it is that I have that's good and true, it should be up for examination. In fact, it should be dissected even more. So if I tell you water is made out of H2O, that's my declaration, and I say that's true, then everyone should be able to challenge that statement with experiments, studies, paperwork, whatever you want. Go ahead, knock your socks off. And if you discover that water is not H2O, then you'll tell me why and show me your findings. What are you afraid of? If it's just the truth and it's the way to be, wouldn't you want this proclaimed to all of your people? What's the fear? Oh, because you guys are effing over your people. If your country and your way of living is so amazing and US and Canada and all these other free nations are a bunch of infidels, then what are you afraid of? Your people should be celebrating your way of life.
They clearly don't. There needs to be the ability to communicate with other people. The human race is, regardless of country, is a connected community. And any country that is proving to silence their people are proving that they're the enemy of the people. Right. You're not governing for the people. You're governing for yourself. It's plain and simple.
We've all made mistakes as nations. That's not the point. What I'm saying is they've allowed those mistakes to be in Wikipedia. They've allowed, like, slavery. You can read about it on Wikipedia. We have our mistakes. We have our history, and it sucks. We say, yeah, this is our history. This is where we used to be, but this is where we are now. And that's actually how you grow and learn as a country, as a people, as a person. You make mistakes, you learn from your mistakes, and you try not to have history repeat itself. By not having history repeat itself, you teach it. You say, this was a really bad way to go, guys. Let's not do that again. That's a good way of living. I think free speech is a very valuable commodity. That's why it's always talked about in movies and films.
Well, that's why it needs to be protected.
At all costs. At all costs. Absolutely. Yeah. Number 6, Jay, you got that one. This is a big one.
All right. Facebook connects billions, but in countries like China, North Korea, Iran, it seems seen as a threat and is completely blocked to prevent free expression and maintain state control. China led this move in 2009, fearing social unrest, with Iran and North Korea quickly following. Russia joined in 2022, accusing Facebook of limiting access to state media, while Uganda blocked it before a 2021 election to curb dissent.
Facebook is stagnated, I don't know, take it for what it's worth, last few years, about $120 billion a year revenue.
Well, what about Wikipedia, though?
For the yearly revenue?
As a place of source, or is that something you rely on? Is that something you use regularly?
I use it a lot. I used it enough that I feel guilty I haven't given it any money. I use it that much where the tickling of guilt, when they say, hey, for $2 or whatever, like, ugh, I feel bad. I use this all the time. It is a free resource. They do ask for handouts, which is legit. Yeah. to maintaining the site. I agree. I think enough people do give it money because it is, just so you know, Jay.
Well, what is the revenue?
Revenue is 180 million a year.
That's it, eh?
That's it.
Worse than Skype.
Yeah, well, there's no Google ads on it.
It's probably used more than Skype.
Oh yeah, Wikipedia is the yearly traffic. Let's here do yearly traffic. Let's see how many people visit it. In December 23, close to 4.3 billion unique global visitors had visited it.
Yeah, like I think it's one of the probably top 10 visited, I would guess.
4 billion people a year. Yeah, no one's giving it very much money. Oof, that's not good. So maybe we should all give it a little bit of money. All right.
I use it sparingly myself. I'm not sure how often I really use it as a true source of information of things, but probably a few times a month I'll reference it. But
I use it quite a bit, I guess, just for our research for the shows, for other podcasts I do, and just for generally I'll Wikipedia movies, actors.
That's the type of stuff. I mean, but as far as what's string theory, I'm not sure if I go to Wikipedia or like anything really deep or meaningful. Now back to Facebook.
Facebook, sure. I use it every day, but I admit, my posting, I have decreased my posting, but it's not some altruistic reason. I think it's just a natural thing. Like there's a time I used to post on MySpace, for example. I mean, that site's gone, but Facebook's still around. I just feel like I don't post on there as much as I used to, but I definitely still use it for connection. I think there's a bit Facebook messengers every day. So I definitely use the Facebook company every day through Messenger, between talking to you guys, talking to my sons, talking to extended family, friends, work. I'd almost like Facebook Messenger alone is, I use that so much. But for big events, like again, my son's wedding I just went to, for sure, this is like, hey, this is a big moment, so I like to, it's my way of sharing the wedding. And I won't mention which brother. I don't think either one of them really listen to our show. I'm not sure if, which ones do, but I know our mom listens, but I won't say which one. So we have a brother who doesn't use Facebook, and I visited with him, and I was talking about the wedding. Do you guys see the photos of the wedding or something to that effect? Like, because that's why I share it on Facebook, because this is a way of just saying, hey, if anyone cares about my life, here's my son's wedding and some photos. Like, this is just a way of like, blah, it gets it out to everyone. It's a very convenient way to get it out to people that care, and people comment and say it's great. This is what I'm trying to avoid, is the whole, like, if you just were on Facebook, we could just talk about the wedding and the photos, but now, here's, my daughter.
Now you catch up to speed on what has already been a known fact.
Right. I'm not criticizing the brother, but I'm making the point of that's why I like Facebook, because when I move, when I have a new job in the military or a new position or an event, it's just a good way of, instead of mass emailing, which is why is that a more noble way of doing things as an email? I don't think it really is. Facebook just allows you to say, hey, this is a new event in my life. If you care, cool, thumbs up. If you don't care, you just scroll along. But it's a good way of just announcing, and it really has been handy announcing, moves, weddings, that type of thing. So I've had to kind of repeat myself to certain people when things happen in my life that they weren't aware of. Like, oh, I made this known 6 months ago.
I agree. I use it for
same idea.
Same idea. I wish Facebook, I see a lot of stuff that I have zero need to see.
Sure.
And I wish more times than not that the people that I follow would just do kind of the highlight stuff too. And I'm not a fan of, and again, you can use Facebook for whatever you want. Oh, yeah. I like Facebook for like personal connections. I don't want to see a person's agendas. It seems like a weird place to air out your dirty laundry. Yeah. The vague booking.
What a day.
Yeah, like I find that weird ways to communicate with people.
Yeah.
Myself.
Your big trip. You're sharing all those photos.
Yeah.
That's a great way to share.
Yeah, kind of highlight stuff. I'm not really a fan of the airing the dirty laundry and the vague booking and like these political narratives that whichever thing. Like I'm not a fan of using Facebook. I thought Facebook was just kind of a lighthearted family, friends sharing highlights.
That's what I thought it is.
It's deviated from that for me, and which makes me less inclined to actually engage with it. And I do wish there was more communication. Like you said, I know who you're talking about. That's just the way people communicate and keep up to date with people. And when certain people don't, then yeah.
Yeah, what I've done is when there's people, they do that kind of whatever posting, I'm not a big fan of. You can hide them and you unfollow them, so you don't unfriend them. They don't know you've done it. I've done it for certain individuals who are like, oh my gosh, stop with whatever. And that's my right. It's their right to post what they want. So I don't tell them.
Of course. Yeah.
I never tell them, don't do that. I don't want to hear that. No, that's your Absolutely. You're right. It's your Facebook. If I personally get tired of a certain individual's type of posting, just here's a little Facebook tip for you guys. Go on their profile. There's like little buttons or whatever. You click on it, their menu, and just go to unfollow. When you hit unfollow, you stay friends. They see that you're still friends. They still see your posts if you decide to post. If they haven't unfollowed you, there's no indication that they'll see is like maybe you don't like or comment on their stuff anyways, but now you don't see it too. They don't know you don't see it. There's no indication. It's completely harmless. Nobody's feelings are hurt, is what I'm saying.
I miss the old days of Facebook where it was just lighthearted, fun, highlighted moments.
Sure.
A quick update stuff like, hey, we're selling our house and we're moving to Arizona or something like that. I hope to validate people's experiences. Like
Yeah.
If somebody shares something like hey, we have a newborn or something, I want them to know that I think that's a cool thing.
Right, for sure.
I feel like there's other platforms that are more geared towards a rant. Facebook seems like a not quite the platform that I like seeing that stuff on.
Yeah, well, I think maybe that's why other ones were formed, or we can talk about that. I think if you use each one for kind of,
and I think that's what Facebook is going down or kind of stagnant because it has done that. Yeah. I think we've kind of lost the plot on what Facebook was originally kind of used for.
It's up to me and you to continue to carry that torch. All right, I've got the next one. Well, speaking of the other platforms, I think Twitter was after Facebook, if I remember correctly. I don't quite remember the timeline. And Twitter now branded as X, which I'm getting kind of used to at this point. But did you know, Jason, that Brazil has banned X?
Yes, there's a big fight between Brazil and Elon Musk.
Yeah. So Elon, how he responded to this was by using his Starlink satellites to keep the platform running, bypassing the government's restrictions. I love when you're the richest man in the world. This is the kind of stuff you get to do. The ban came after X didn't appoint a new legal representative in Brazil, a move Musk criticized as an attack on free speech. Despite attempts by authorities to force compliance, including freezing Starlink's bank accounts, Musk continued to provide internet access, even offering free connections to users. The clash between Musk and Brazilian authorities highlights the growing conflict over digital freedom and government control. So I think it goes without saying. Say what you want about Elon. At least my understanding about him is he's a big proponent for free speech. I think he likes that idea. I could be wrong.
Well, that's the vibe I get. Yeah. Free speech to him is everything. Seems to be that way. I mean, I haven't seen something that would tell me otherwise. He did make a tweet. I will use Starlink and allow the Brazilian people to use Starlink for free in order for them to continue to have access. Twitter, X, is the place where people have the biggest platform of being able to express themselves.
There's other ones, Jay. I'm not on them. There's one called Threads and one called True Social. Isn't True Social Trump's platform? Did that one fizzle out, or is that still a thing?
No, he's still doing it. He is back on X. Right. That's a more recent thing.
Yeah.
When I think it was John Smith, is that the original, or Jack Smith, the original guy that started Twitter?
Oh,
for Twitter platform to take off sitting president of the United States seems like a overhanded move, and that's why Trump wasn't on Twitter, and then now X. Why he wasn't on X, and Trump created Truth Social,
right?
Because he wanted a voice. So it's weird that a platform that would have other dictatorships on their platform would take away a sitting president. So X being bought by, or Twitter being bought by Elon, reestablished the ability to have more open dialogue rather than the restrictions that was being put on. At least that's the narrative.
I find I'm on X quite a bit. What I like about X personally is I'm getting what I think is an unfiltered, good or bad, beautiful or terrible. We're getting users to saying, hey, this is what I'm experiencing right now with this part of the world. Here's my video camera footage. Here we go.
The citizen journalism.
There's no Fox News, no CNN, no MSNBC. All I'm seeing is Joe Blow with his camera saying, hey, this is what's going on in the streets of Europe right now. Or, hey, this is what's going on in the downtown Seattle. There's no narrative. This is just me with my video camera, and of course you can read the comments, but you as the viewer get to decide for yourself. I kind of like what I'm seeing here, or you can say, I don't know if I really like that. Algorithms are algorithms. They will kind of feed you what you look for. I get that. What I like is I want Trump to have a voice. I also want Biden to have a voice. It wouldn't make me But the point I'm trying to make is, or Kamala, like, I like that we have these voices. I think that's good
Well,
in that I
the
don't
whole
have to
idea is to
agree.
have a dialogue. The whole
Yes.
idea is to have a dialogue. The whole idea is to be able to talk
I'm
and
not saying
share
about,
ideas, right or whatever you think is right, or you say right or
of course.
wrong. Well, what is right or wrong?
Well,
It's
or your
just
opinion or your somebody else's
yeah,
opinion.
right.
I'm using the obvious example because elections are coming up. The time it's recording, so we have two very big parties, in the very big country that we're not a part of. We're not American citizens, but of course, the American election is It's very important to kind of know what's going on down there. I would not get any joy if Trump was taken off X again, or if Kamala was. I would go, yeah, there you go, ha ha. Sucks to be
Exactly.
like why would
I don't understand that mindset either.
No,
I don't understand. If something sounds crazy,
let the people
if I
say
say exactly, let me decide. I don't need big brothers anymore.
Yes, that's what I was trying to get
I
to.
don't need it. I don't want you to tell me what I'm supposed to think.
Exactly.
I
That's
can
all
do
I was
that for
trying to say.
myself. I can do that for myself. I can censor voices or opinions and narratives myself.
Yeah, you're gonna have your own opinion. Yeah. And that's what I actually like. If you go Kamala make a post, right? I'm sorry, am I saying her name wrong?
I have no idea.
Kamala.
There's so many.
Sorry. What I'm getting at is if she says something on her X account, the people will comment. That's what you're there for. Okay, it's
the
great
comments.
Yeah, and then Trump, same thing. When he does a post, I actually enjoy reading the comment. So I like reading both voices. You have to hear the opposition. You have to hear what it is they're saying. That's where it's like, again, with our small dumb channel, and or other times I get any kind of, not criticism, but when people say, or reviews of your podcast where someone said, hey, I missed your album reviews, so we've increased them on the show, on the channel. That's good to hear. Like, it's an opposing voice. We don't want to be in a vacuum. We want to kind of hear what people have to say. You have to be willing to hear that, or else, you're North Korean government. You live in a vacuum. You just do what you want.
I don't understand the
people
wanting to restrict other people's voice. Aren't you exactly promoting the type of countries that we pose? Yeah. You're doing exactly what we don't want.
Jay, you've got the next one. Big one. This is a big one again.
YouTube serves a key source of news, entertainment, and education for many, but it's completely banned in countries China, Iran, North Korea due to fears of unfiltered content spreading. China first blocked YouTube in 2007 after videos surfaced showing crackdowns in Tibet, and similar motivations drive bans in Iran and North Korea. In Pakistan, YouTube faces intermittent bans whenever content clashes with government views, creating a consistently shifting access landscape. These bans underscore the platform's power in shaping perspectives and sharing ideas worldwide.
Now, this is a site, obviously, we put our small little show on YouTube. So I'm sure with things we've said about China and Iran, North Korea, they won't like to hear it. But guess what? They won't hear it. I guess it's these countries and there's these poor citizens. They won't get to hear our show. Yeah. So YouTube is something I use all the time. I mean, all the time, daily, from concert videos to creator content. I listen to podcasts on here, documentaries, like, fun things like scary videos or whatever it is.
Like how to change a light bulb.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like any little hack or a trick, or I don't know how to do something, YouTube, you can visually follow somebody's instructions. I'm using a silly example, change a light bulb or how to cook a roast or whatever.
That's on there. How to cook a roast is on YouTube. Yeah. Guarantee it. I guarantee you that there's a light bulb one on there.
Oh, for sure.
Why not? There's not much else we can say about YouTube more than what people obviously know. Let's be honest. YouTube is world known. It's an amazing platform. I love it. I actually have YouTube Premium.
What is it? $20?
So it's like $1 a day, give or take. I have the family plan because I share with my kids, so it might be more expensive. Okay,
I do as well. I don't know why, because none of my kids live at home, but they leech off of me still.
Yeah, mine do too.
I have a couple of subscriptions, but at any rate, it is probably the best bang for buck that you can spend on any social platform. No commercials.
Yep.
You can listen to it as a podcast. You don't have to watch the video. You can drive and listen to YouTube, having no commercials, because it sounds like commercials are like on some videos. It seems like it's like every couple of minutes. Say a 30-minute video, you might have like 10 commercials.
Yeah, for sure.
What is YouTube's number one viewership, and what is YouTube's revenue?
Their annual? We didn't do the have we done? So we did Facebook. Let's just quickly go back and do X's yearly income. yearly revenue. X generates $4.5 billion a year. It's not bad. So that's twice as much or 4 times as much as Facebook. I'm going to guess YouTube. I'm going to guess YouTube is probably 8 billion.
X is 4?
X is 4.5.
10.
10. I'm going 8. Wow. YouTube's annual advertising revenue is 30 billion a year. Not too shabby.
And
okay.
Google owns YouTube, right?
So then another big one, Jay, I think this one's owned by Facebook or Meta as well as Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Instagram is something I use quite frequently. I know you do too. You're a big picture taker. That's essentially what Instagram was sort of invented for or created for. Was the idea was, hey, this is a non-political platform. This is just for you to post pictures, stuff like that. And you can comment, of course, but there's no like you can't post the words. You could post a picture that says the words, I guess. But the idea is like, Ryan has a site or an account. Jason has one. It's like you're just posting pictures that mean something to you in your life, whether you're doing artwork, photography, your family. I think for the most part, it's used for that. But yes, we do have our own little group, Jason and I have with our families that we share funny memes or videos with. So it's definitely a huge part of Instagram is, these funny memes and stuff and videos that are that people create. They're called Reels, I guess. But yeah, Instagram, huge platform. People use it for communication, of course, chats, reel sharing. What do you think the Instagram yearly revenue is? I'm going to go 4 billion as well.
I was going to say 5.
Okay. The platform's revenue in 2020 was 28 billion.
Holy. It is growing, though.
I think if you look at these revenue streams of these companies, you can say it's YouTube and Instagram right now seem to be an X. X is only 4.5 billion, but there you go. Jay, you got the second last one here. We're kind of going to go down in as far as maybe revenue, but what do you got there for the next one?
So Telegram isn't just a messaging app; it's a key tool for activists and protesters worldwide due to its strong encryption and ability to host large anonymous groups. Governments aiming to control information abandoned in places like Russia, Iran, and China. Telegram's popularity even grew after government attempted to block it in 2018. The app symbolizes resistance and free expression, showing that people determined to communicate freely will always find a way.
So there was some news, Jay. Recently, Pavel Durov, the founder and CEO of Telegram, was arrested in France and placed under investigation for allegedly allowing illicit activities on the platform, including drug trafficking and the distribution of child abuse material, i.e. CP. Authorities detained him as part of their ongoing scrutiny of Telegram's content moderation practices, which have been criticized in multiple countries for enabling illegal activities. Despite these allegations, Durov has defended Telegram's policies, emphasizing that the platform regularly removes harmful content and complies with the European laws like the Digital Services Act. He described the charges against him as, quote, misguided, arguing that holding a platform's CEO personally liable for misuse by third parties is unreasonable.
I'm actually looking on my phone to see if I have it, because I thought I did, but I don't see if I
It's probably work-related as well, or I think it was just another app for work at some point. I don't know if Pavel Durov should necessarily be arrested because of third-party people's use of it, but there's got to be something they got to put in place that YouTube seems to handle very well or better. I don't think there's much CP on YouTube. There's algorithms and ways of obviously handling this that Telegram needs to figure out, because it happens to be look, these people are going to exist. I get it. This kind of activity is going to happen. But when you're the number one platform that accommodates this, you've got to look at yourself and say, why and how do we fix this?
Well, obviously AI has to be utilized to scour.
Like everything can be used for good or bad, of course. Telegram is not designed for that. It's basically
for whatever reason,
it's the dark web of social media platforms.
For whatever reason, it has become the place. It could have been in messaging app if it was encrypted, probably to begin with. It could have been in Instagram messaging. It could have been, however Telegram works. I mean, I don't know. They have found ways for groups of people to connect. Did I read it? Is this the one with the activism? Yeah, activists and protesters. Interesting. It's funny, activists and protesters are also use the same platform that CP is highly used for.
Right.
Find that.
The Telegram revenue is not bad. It has 850 million monthly users, and I know it's a free app, so I don't know where they get the revenue from, to be honest. I don't know how that works, because it's like WhatsApp. I don't know, like, it's free. You don't have to get a subscription, but it's $340 million a year.
They're probably premium version of the app. Like maybe there's a free version and a premium version that you pay for.
There's 850 million monthly active users for this. So obviously they're not all 850 million people are involved in illicit activities, but according to this arrest, there's a lot of drug trafficking and basically dark web stuff done on this open platform. So it's just an easier way. It's like an easier version of the dark web. Yeah. Okay. I've got the last one. Signal. Signal. Have you heard of that? Signal?
I have. I'm going to see if I've used it or.
I have an account with a couple of friends. I'll keep them anonymous, of course. Again, we just use it for like talking. And it's just because it's known for its strong encryption and commitment to privacy as well. It's like the purple version of WhatsApp, I call it, or because WhatsApp's a green, Signal's purple, I think. It's committed to privacy, but it's faced bans in Venezuela and Russia, where governments claim national security concerns, which I find odd. So Venezuela, the ban coincided with political unrest, aiming to disrupt protest organization and uncensored information sharing. So Signal. I have Signal, but like I said, I only use it for a couple of my friends. I don't really use it outside of that. It operates much like WhatsApp, highly encrypted, end-to-end user. You have to have my phone number to add me. That's my understanding.
Yeah, so it's got pretty good reviews in the app.
Yeah.
It's 4.7. Interesting. Yeah, privacy is the name of the game here. Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't use it. I haven't used it. I don't know who I would use it with. Oh, interesting. So, not to change the subject, but I'm looking at the top charts for messaging. I guess these are messaging, social networking. This can't be real, but Threads is number one right now.
For what now? What's it number one for?
Like messaging or social networking. Threads, that can't be real. It must be what's being added. Because Threads, a lot of people are saying is going to be dead, not really used. But
yeah, I don't have a Threads account. Do you have a Threads account?
I do. I've never used it yet, though. Like it's an Instagram version of
Twitter, isn't it?
A Twitter, it seems. It must be number one in. They must update that list. So, like maybe this week, because no one has had it, it's still building its base. So, like Threads, WhatsApp is number 2. Carrot, I've never heard of Carrot before.
You might find this interesting regarding Signal. Do you want to have a guess of what their yearly revenue is?
I don't know, because I looked when I was looking at Signal. They say it's free.
It's a nonprofit.
So, it's a nonprofit.
It's a nonprofit. It does not make any revenue. It receives donations from users and benefactors. Brian Acton, he invested $50 million into the company in 2017. They're losing about $5 million a year.
So what's the angle on that?
I think the angle is that it's the number one encrypted. Whoever this Brian Acton guy, he just says, hey, I believe in this. I'm going to give you $50 million of my money. I'm just going to get his net worth. Why is this?
Well, it might be also just a way of saying that these people don't have to make boatloads of money off of people.
He's only worth $3.5 billion. So it's so funny that $50 million that he donated, when you're worth $3.5 billion, you just make it back in interest in a matter of the interest that a billion makes yearly. You just put away $1 billion.
So people that hate Elon Musk for buying X, do they hate this billionaire for creating Signal as well? Rich people aren't allowed to do things.
They're mad at X or they're mad at Elon because Elon is like the Joe Rogan of social media. Meaning, what I mean by that is he's an agitator in that he allows. The beauty of it is you don't have to agree with Elon. You can disagree with X, then just don't use it and don't read anything from there. He's just saying, hey, I'm going to let people say what they want to say here. If you don't want to read it or hear about what people have to say from both sides of the party lines, then don't read it. Don't join me. Go join
Telegram. Go join Telegram and create your activist groups, and you get all guys can get together and complain about X.
It is funny. Yeah, I know. I love it is funny. I've never been bent out of shape on it. I see so many different opinions that I don't agree with on X, and I'm never bothered. I don't know what am I.
I'm bothered by an opinion. You don't have to believe the opinion. You can disagree with it, but I'm not bothered that it's there.
I'm going to use a non-political example. Let's just say I'm a Star Wars fan, but I hate Star Trek. Okay, I'm using something non-political, and I see a Star Wars post, whatever side. I don't remember which one I picked. I see a Star Wars post, and I can't stand it. I can't believe they like Star Wars. I just don't get it. I clutch my pearls. Like I don't get it.
I don't.
Or it's okay to just say, you know what? I don't agree with them. I think they're crazy. I think they're stupid. Fine. In fact, you could say it. Go ahead and write it. Go ahead and write it. X lets you do it. Yeah, that's funny. If George Lucas, who owns Star Wars, creates a platform where people in Star Trek can say how much they hate Star Wars, then you can almost argue, hey, it's brave of George to do that. That's what Elon's done. He has people who shite on him all the time And he lets it happen. But the point I'm trying to make is I enjoy X. I don't know if it's going to be my worst pick that I would want it to be deleted. It's up there, but it's like anything. It's what you want, folks. Algorithms are king.
You talk about algorithms, though. There seems to be, I don't want so much being force fed additional things that I'm not really that interested in seeing a car crash. You know what I mean? Or I'm not that interested in these. I get a lot of fight videos too. Sure, it's intriguing when it comes across your feed, but I'm actually not searching it out. And sometimes you don't know what's happening until the video just plays on its own. And maybe there's a setting for that. I don't know. But I wish there was a way that you could, and maybe there is, I just filter so that you get less of things that you're not interested. Rather than things that you are interested, they go, like, maybe can you write in less fights?
There is an option. So when you go to Twitter, right now I got a post. Right away, the first thing is not interested in this post. So that might feed the algorithm that whatever that topic is, if you're not interested in that post, if it's a political one or a model, or let's say whatever, they might give you less of those. So I think that's how you do it. So I think Instagram is the same way. You can actually redirect your algorithm. That's my understanding, is you can redirect it, but you have to physically say not interested in this post.
Yeah, I need to investigate that, because there's a few. I'm not really into violence. I'm not interested in seeing people get hurt.
All right, so here we go, folks. So Jason, go through quickly here. Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, Wikipedia, Facebook, X, YouTube, Instagram, Telegram, and Signal. Of these 10 platforms, which one would sting you the most if Canada said, nope, you cannot access it? There's no way around it. No VPN, nothing. You'll never have access to this again. It'll be obliterated from the internet. Which one would sting you the most?
It would have to be YouTube. I listen to YouTube videos all the time.
That's my pick too. I think that's the one. I mean, maybe it's the easiest one to pick, but that's fine. Some of our episodes are a little bit easier than others. This was my biggest one too. I think if you took that away, that would sting the most. I still get videos and stuff on X. For example, I was wanting to watch, I don't always agree with him, but I do like some of the things he talks about. Tucker Carlson. I would try to watch one of his videos. He had a historian on that I wanted to watch. The historian. It's like, but every time I turned off the app or moved it, I was like, I didn't remember where I was. And I don't know if there's a version of that on YouTube, because that's why I like my YouTube Premium. It remembers my history, remembers what I watched. I can watch.
Tucker is on YouTube.
The same interviews?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never even thought about it. I thought he just went to X to do a show.
I think it's maybe first on there, but I just bought X Premium. X's paid version.
Is that the same idea then?
You don't have to. I believe you can.
Okay. So they have this. So there you go. It's because it's the free version. Okay. But that being said, yeah, YouTube, that I agree. That's easy. Worst pick. So that would be our worst of these best platforms to share information and communication. At the end of the day, folks, if you're listening to this podcast, you made it to the end. At the end of the day, be grateful that you have a dissenting voice, that we can learn from each other. You might learn something. I certainly have learned from both sides of the fence. I don't know anything. I don't claim to know anything. People much smarter than me do use these platforms, which I like. So whoever they are, listen to them. Of course, we don't advocate violence. We don't advocate hate speech. That's not what we're talking about. We're just saying dissenting or disagreeing voices are important. It's okay to be challenged. It's okay if the truth deserves to be challenged, it needs to be challenged, because that's what makes it true.
Yeah, me as well. Like, there are things where my mind has been shifted as I have listened to dissenting voices,
sure,
whatever the topic might be, and it changed trajectories in the way that I think about certain others, like my health and fitness. There's ideas that I never had entertained before. A lot of YouTube doctors and stuff opened my eyes and educated me in areas that I had not thought of or knew about. That's an example. Just because somebody challenges the way that you've grown up to believe certain things doesn't mean another person's idea is actually going to be wrong. It might hurt a little bit as you transition from one idea to another, like as you're challenging, yourself. But things aren't always bad when you hear something that initially challenges you. Doesn't mean it's wrong.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well said. Remember, in front of every silver lining, there's a cloud. And today, for both of us, we don't always get the same answer, but today for both of us, it was YouTube.